I know, I'm really trying, you know? Fuck.
Especially if you keep going to Tijuana, you're gonna get a hang of it big time.
Fuck, it's gonna be good. If my goal is to be trilingual this year.
Nice.
Trilingual.
All right, you ready?
One second. Sí,
I already tested the audio, so we're pretty good. Okay, 3, 2, 1. ¿Qué onda, raza? Aquí deben... Oh, actually, I'm gonna say it in English because this time we're gonna do the interview in English with my friend Angelo. HABIB, how are you doing, brother?
Good, how you doing, bro?
Good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invite. I know you are very, very busy. Running a new gym.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
It's been good, bro.
Yeah.
It's just been really busy. Super busy, man. Like, it's been probably the first week when we got back from Tijuana, it was the busiest week of my life. Like,
So you just had a fight, and then you moved to this new gym, eh?
Yeah, so we had to shorten the trip to like 3 days. So I went on Thursday, flew into LA, we drove to Tijuana.
Yeah.
And then weighed in on Friday, and then fought Saturday night. After the fight Saturday night, we drove like immediately back to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And that was about 4-hour drive. So we ended up getting in LA around like 5 a.m. and then slept on the floor at the airport till like 8 a.m. It was crazy. And then we flew back to Calgary on Sunday night, so like 9 p.m. And by the time we got back to Calgary, like right from the airport, I already started getting ready
for the whole transition, eh?
Yeah, to get ready for the gym. And then I met the movers at the old gym on like early Monday morning, like 7 a.m. And we started the week just starting to get ready.
So in a period of 5 days?
Yeah, it was like a 3-day trip that turned into not sleeping for 3 days, and then me not sleeping for 3 days turned into not sleeping for a whole week because I got back, and then it was just like right away, move everything out of the old gym, start setting up the new gym.
Did you feel like it affected you, the idea that you had to move the next week in your fight? Was the pressure there that you had to move?
100%. It was pretty stressful, but you know, I handle stress very well.
Nice.
But even with me handling stress very well, it was like it was difficult for sure. Like, you always have that stress in the back of your mind, like, oh, when I get back, I got to do this, and you know, you try to not bring that into the ring, but it follows you everywhere.
Of course, and also because you have a timeline, right? You have a deadline for you to give away, or how do you say it? Entregar, to give the other gym, like to give the space back to the landlord or whatever, and to open this gym, right? So I'm assuming that deadline is constantly in your back of your head.
Right.
I'm just wondering, I'm just trying to word my question properly, but were you, I don't know, was it a constant thought on your mind where you were punching, where you were getting punched in the face? Because I imagine in a professional fight, it's very complicated to, if you lose your focus for a minute or even for like 10 seconds, you can get knocked out.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, I think, I don't think I lost I think I lost my focus in the fight a few times.
Yeah.
You know, I got hit with some punches that usually I would be able to defend against, slip or whatever, right? But in that moment, I was, not very focused on the fight, and I ended up getting hit a few times where I shouldn't have gotten hit.
Yeah.
But I mean, we won the fight unanimous decision. I ended up, boxing the guy and just using my technique and winning the fight. But I mean, you don't really think about it in the fight. It's not like in the middle of the fight I was like, oh man, I gotta open a gym in a few days, right?
Yeah.
But I was definitely like not 100% in the fight mentally, like, oh, I'm fighting, I'm in a fight. It was more like I got in there a bit more like distracted, right? So it did affect me a bit. I'm sure I would have had an even better...
I'm assuming like the first round, and then you got into
and then I got into it, but even then, like the stress and stuff, but like the pre-existing stress, if I didn't have that, I would have had a better performance. Yeah, for sure.
How often do you do this, that you only have not even a day of preparation before your fight? Because I'm assuming in professional fights, you have to have... There's camps that people go through for 2-3 weeks before their actual fight.
Right.
But then you just mentioned that you had your fight a day after arriving to the location, to Tijuana.
Right. And that's the other like barrier of stress, right?
Yeah.
Because usually me and the team try to get there a few days earlier.
Okay.
so we can acclimatize to the weather, get used to the food there, you know, prepare for everything, and then get all these little things out of the way, and then all that's on your mind is fight night. But this time we really rushed everything. If I were to do it again, I would have probably said, you know,
you wouldn't have.
I would have said, you know what, I'll fight after I move into the new gym, right, and settle down, because that was a lot of stress on me.
No, I bet, man. And I'm assuming it's a big change because Tijuana it's a beach, right? So it's a humid condition.
Yeah.
Right? Calgary is very dry.
Right.
So you at least need a week to prepare training. Exactly, right? In this case, do you feel like it's a big impact, especially fighting again professionally, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like traveling, just in general, not even the destination, but traveling takes a toll on the body. Like sitting in a plane for a few hours, like your glutes get sore, your legs get numb, and then you get off the airplane and you got to rent a car, or you know, in our case, my good friend Mark Madison picked us up. But even then, you know, you're sitting in LA traffic for 5 hours and your legs are numb, and then like by the time you get to, you know, your friend's house or your Airbnb or your hotel, you just want to sleep, but then like, you know, you can't sleep because you gotta get everything prepared and then get right and then cut a few more pounds before you have weigh-ins the next day. It's super stressful.
What do you do? What is your do you have like a ritual before a fight? Do you meditate? Do you go for a run to the beach? Do you have a ritual at all, or
like
just
like fight night or the day before?
Before the fight, because I'm assuming. I mean, I'll put it in my perspective, right? When I had a street fight,
right,
and I knew I was gonna see the guy next day,
right,
I was nervous as hell, right? Like in my house, I was like, oh shit, this guy's gonna beat me up after school or whatever. In your cases, I'm sure it's different because you're a trained warrior,
right, in
all the extension of the word. But regardless, we're still human. We still have nerves. We still get nervous.
Right.
So how do you feel that? How do you experience that?
I mean, at any level, you're going to be nervous. Like you see interviews, even podcasts with top fighters in the world. You know, George St. Pierre, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, all these guys, and they even say like you're not human if you don't have that nervousness going in. Like everybody, no matter what level you get to, I think it's just a matter of the more experience you have, the less nerves you get, or maybe better yet, you know how to handle those nerves better. The more experience you get, you turn those nerves into, you know, something exciting, and then when you get in the ring, it's more exciting rather than a fear, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, for a ritual, I mean, the day before, it's usually just hanging out. You know, if I already made weight and stuff, I'm hanging out. Yeah, I'll go walk. Okay,
so you make weight and then you have a day of preparation, I'm assuming, to bring your weight up.
Yeah, so Friday you weigh in, and then Saturday you fight. So usually you have about 30 to 38 hours to rehydrate, if you think about it. And you know, I use that time to rehydrate on Friday, and then like if we're in Mexico, then I'll go walk on the beach. I'll do something like to get my mind off fighting, because like you don't want to get yourself like excited until like it's fight day. Because if I'm getting myself excited on Friday night, I'm not gonna sleep, because all I'm thinking about is the fight. I'm gonna be way too hyped up.
Oh yeah, I bet, man.
Right? But if I'm, you know,
it's like a final exam. You know,
exactly.
You know, you studied for it,
right?
And you know you can dominate.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's a final exam.
For sure.
You know, you're gonna find yourself in a challenge.
Right.
No matter how prepared you are. So
100%. For me, it's honestly like. I just like, and walking on the beach, you know, grabbing some healthy food, hydrating, doing all that stuff, and then maybe doing some sightseeing or going to see a museum or something.
Nice.
Something not fight related, right?
Yeah.
And then
so like you stay in Los Angeles, you say, and then you travel to Tijuana the same day, or how does that work?
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, we landed in LA and then we drove down to Tijuana.
And then you stay in Tijuana, right?
And then we stayed there Friday, Saturday, and Friday and Saturday, and then we booked it for Sunday as well, but we just like drove back Saturday night.
And then you find it beautiful how well, right now it's not the best, but still that you bring $100 and it's $100. You can worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's worth $100.
It's nice, man. Like, you know, but it's crazy because like when you're cutting weight and you're dehydrated, like like Thursday we got to Tijuana, or even if you go in a supermarket,
Yeah.
you're like so hungry and thirsty because you're like on weight.
Of course.
But you're like, it'd be like if like a pothead gets high and has the munchies. You want to buy everything, right?
Yeah.
Like at the store.
Oh, man.
It's like that, but like times a million because like you're dehydrated. And you're like starving.
Yeah.
But you know you can't eat or drink any of this stuff till tomorrow. So you buy more than your body can handle. Like I'll go into like the store there, you know, like the local mercado, and I'll buy everything like
Los
juices,
mercaditos.
like
Nice.
salads, like steak, like
Right
chips,
after the fight.
everything. I know because I know that like after I weigh in, I'm gonna eat and drink all this stuff.
Nice.
Right? So it's like you're buying, and you end up buying more than you're gonna eat or consume, right? So
Have you had any hallucinations for dehydration? From dehydration?
no, I've never been like very dehydrated, but like you know, you do suffer. Like, every fighter, I believe, suffers a little bit of dehydration.
Yeah. Because I recently saw this video clip from Brandon Moreno being dehydrated, and they'll put him in a bag, and then the guy, they had to carry him.
Yeah, it's excessive,
right?
man.
And it's like,
Those
dude.
are like UFC fighters, like they're very excessive with their weight cuts. Like some of these guys are cutting 20, 30 pounds in 1 week. Like it's crazy, right? Like
and then gaining like 5 kilograms or 7 kilograms overnight. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I think it's like living a healthy lifestyle. You know, I'm a gym owner. I'm here at the gym 7 days a week. Even when like I have a rest day, I'm eating healthy, right?
Nice.
I might just eat an excess of calories, but it's healthy food, right? But you're keeping your body in shape, you know, all year round. That way, when it comes fight time, I only have to drop, you know, 7-8 pounds.
Nice. Yeah.
And then maybe sweat out 3 or 4 more pounds the night before.
And you're ready for fight.
And you're ready to go, right? I'd rather do it that way than.
Well, that
you
makes
know,
sense, man. That's why you're always beating all these Mexican guys.
Right. It's better than indulging and all that stuff, and then last minute having to, you know, make your body suffer and cut all that weight, right?
Yeah. I also believe it's a little unhealthy, but I don't know if it's different UFC from boxing, at least in terms of cutting weight. Do you find any differences? I don't know if you know much about UFC.
I honestly think like boxers don't cut as much weight as UFC fighters.
Yeah.
MMA fighters cut crazy weight. Like they'll do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like some of these guys, they have to get like carried by their friends to the weigh-ins, like to go on the scale. Like, they drop them on the scale.
Yeah.
Like these guys are about to die.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't get to that point. A, you should be more prepared and take care of yourself better so you don't have to do that. Or B, move up a weight class. Go to like if you're about to die on the weight scale and like you're not gonna be 100% by tomorrow night to fight.
No,
you know?
I do agree on that. And usually when you go to these fights in Tijuana, I see that you always bring a team, right? So how does that work? You bring also fighters, and that way it's sort of like more, how do you say it? More efficient to bring a bunch of fighters and then do a bunch of fights on the same day, or there's just your kind of your team for there to support you?
I always bring my coach Mike. Like he's the number one guy. You know, that guy does everything for me, right? Like I wouldn't be who I am without that guy.
Nice.
Like
shout out to Mike.
Yeah, Coach Mike. Shout out Coach Mike. He does everything for me, man. Like from being my cut man to being my coach. He's like he's a full package, you know. Like he comes down with me, and he takes care of me like outside of the ring as well, right? Like he's always asking, okay, how's it going? How's the weight cut going? You know, like if I'm taking a hot bath before weigh-ins, like he'll knock on the door. Are you okay? You need anything, right? So he's not just like he's not just there to help me prepare for the fight. He's not just there inside of the ring, but he's also like you know, a good friend to me outside of the ring, right? Not just inside of the ring as a coach. Yeah. So he takes care of me. In terms of fighters, I try to bring other guys down with me so they can, you know, get the international experience as well. But it's usually just me and Mike that go down. Yeah. And then
because I recently saw a story from Missy, and I don't know if so the other guy was pushing him and rappelling him and punching him from the. It's like, what the hell is going on, right? But that was. So I guess from my understanding, it's the people that use the protection, the headgear. Yeah. Those are amateurs, right?
That's amateur
and then
boxing,
once you take it off, that's just
professional,
right? That's when you jump that line, right? How does it happen? Does it happen gradually, or it's like you've had somebody sees you and they see talent, and then it's like, you know what, let's put him in a ring pro, like right away?
It's...
Or at least for you, right?
Yeah, everyone's different, right? But combat sports are the only sports in the world that are unsanctioned, so there's no governing body. For example, boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing, all these combat sports, they don't have a sanctioning body, such as like, look at baseball, they have the MLB, look at basketball, they have NBA, look at NFL, football, they have the NFL. These are sanctioning bodies, meaning you have to go through a certain process to be a part of these leagues, right?
Yeah.
Boxing and stuff doesn't have that. Tomorrow you could go pro. If you said, hey, Angelo, I want to go pro tomorrow, and you really wanted to, and I couldn't stop you, you could go pro tomorrow, right?
Okay.
Like, that's how crazy it is. Same with Muay Thai. I could go to Thailand tomorrow and do my first pro Muay Thai fight, and no one's going to say anything.
Yeah.
I can go do an MMA fight tomorrow, and no one's going to say anything. I can just sign up, right?
The thing is to be ready for it.
And that's not good at all. Like, and you know, because you have guys that, you know, die in the ring or die in the octagon because they have no experience, and they just sign the papers just to make $500 on a weekend, right? I believe, like, you need a good amateur background, whether it's boxing, kickboxing, MMA. You need some amateur fights, you know, to see if you really want to do this, and then gradually build yourself up. And once you start getting comfortable, from there, then get into the professional world. But the professional world is you know, at your own discretion in these combat sports, you can just enter it.
Yeah.
Whereas like basketball, I'd have to play high school level, college level, you know, make it to NCAA, pass that draft, and then hopefully make it to the NBA. Boxing is like, and MMA is not like that, right? It's like you're just on your own. So.
And for you, who was your first guide to this road of professional? Like, because I know you guys. Well, from what I remember, and we'll go back to that, you guys had the gym in the garage, right? And that's, I think, where you all started.
Right.
But I know you and George were boxing before then, right? There was a background there. So when do you decide, okay, this is what I want to do? You know, because, again, trying to go pro at any sport often has this, I guess, far sight, you know, it's almost impossible. You see it impossible, right?
For sure.
And unless you have the right people around you, you are gonna get discouraged, right? Because that's what you surround yourself usually around to tell you. It's like, yeah, you're not gonna make it, like whatever, right? So for you, what was that turning point?
Honestly,
it was a long, complicated question to.
For sure. Like it's how do I put it? It would probably start when I was the age of 7, right? Like George took me to my first martial arts dojo, and from there I started falling in love with martial arts. Yeah. Not even just boxing, it was just martial arts at that point. And then wherever he went, I went because he's my big brother. So like, okay, you're coming with me. Yeah. So I think by the age of 12, I joined my first boxing club, and I was 12 years old. And I saw Steve Claggett, who's just here. Yeah. And he's been my longtime friend, and George's longtime friend since we were kids. And Steve was going pro, and we were training at a gym in the Northwest, and it took me and George like 45 minutes from the Northeast to drive there every day. Yeah. And I was 12 years old. But I remember Steve's 6 years older than me. I was 12. Steve was 18, and he was just about to turn pro. And I'm like, man, that's so cool. I was 12 years old. Like, to see someone like...
You already had a good influence around
like
you.
Turning pro. And then my brother George, he fought professional kickboxing. So like I was already at a young age introduced to this professional world. I'm like, well, one day I want to do that. I want to go pro. So I think it went from that, and then those aspirations and dreams, and then just continuously to grow myself as a fighter throughout my teenage years, you know, fighting as an amateur. And then I met my first official amateur coach, Samir Almais, and that guy he's like the head coach of Team Canada now. He lives in Montreal, and he trains all the Team Canada fighters at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. He kind of pushed me to start building my amateur career. Okay. At that time, I didn't really realize how much went into becoming a professional boxer. Yeah. Until I had all these amateur fights under my belt, you know. So he taught me a lot.
How many fights you had before turning into pro?
50.
Amateur fights.
50 fights.
50 fights?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's honestly like people in Canada think it's a lot, but it's not really that much. Like when you compare it to like American fighters, some of these kids they started fighting at age 5, right? And they have 300, 400 fights. Or look at like Ukrainians and Russians.
Oh yeah, no.
Every weekend they were fighting 5-6 times. Like it's like for them it was like playing a basketball game every weekend. But I mean for a Canadian, 50 amateur fights is average. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a little.
Okay.
And it's not a lot because it's I would say it's average. I think the average Canadian has about 30 to 60 amateur fights before going pro. And then you have a few other Canadians that, you know, have 70, 80 pro fights, or amateur fights. But you rarely see like a Canadian fighter have more than 100 amateur fights.
How those amateur fights happen? Like you have to be part of an organization, or you just sign up online, or because I was looking online and there's not as much presence of Canadian boxing, you know.
Yeah, we're not like known as a boxing nation, right?
And if you look around, there is quite a few gyms that do boxing, right? But a lot of the times it's just recreational, right? I guess not a lot of people have the guts to go through the environment of actually training to be amateur and then pro.
Yeah.
Right? Like even just a recreational fight class that we have here, you end up sweating like crazy and trust me, it's a good training. It's a really good training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So how do you see, like in terms of years in difference, do you see like a bunch of years away from being close to Americans? Or do you think there is a good path being built right now?
No, amateur boxing is like strong. It's starting to get strong in Canada, and even professional boxing. There's a lot of guys on the come up right now.
Nice.
In professional boxing, especially on the East Coast. Like the West Coast is starting to come up a little bit. But the East Coast has always been good, like Montreal, Toronto.
Yeah.
They've always had a strong presence, and they're really close to the U.S. So a lot of these guys, you know, they drive a few hours, do road trips to Detroit, to New York City.
Oh yeah.
Right, and they go get their sparring and training camps. So they're doing what the Americans do.
Yeah.
And they go fight there, and they're basically Americans, but they live in Canada, right?
Nice.
But we're developing good, like as a nation. We're developing pretty good. I mean, like, I don't think we'll ever be as good as like Mexico, as good as England. These are like as good as the States.
Yeah.
Overall, in general, these are like legends in the sport, right? Like, you look at how many champions have been bred from Mexico, from the United Kingdom, from the USA alone.
I've always saw that one of the reasons, I mean, it's if you look at these countries, a lot of the times there's a lot of involvements of little gangs, you know, from kids that at least in the UK, there is these, we call them hooligans or whatever.
Right.
And they're always fighting, man. There's like, they get the groups and whatever. In Mexico, it's the most normal thing to fight at least 20, 30 times before you go to high school, right? Kid fights, of course, right? Nothing. So I think that their surroundings kind of leads them to here. In Canada being, well, I don't know now, but it's always been such a pacifist
100%.
country. It's so nice.
Yeah, we're known to be like the nice people in the world.
Yeah, man, everybody's nice here.
And it's nice, and it's a good thing, right? It gives you a good upbringing, right? But like, the reasons why, like, for example, in Mexico, everyone's so violent. They have a violent upbringing, right?
Yeah, that is true.
And they have barrios. Like we don't have that here in Calgary. The worst we have is the Northeast. And if you look at the Northeast, if you brought a Mexican from Mexico City or Guadalajara,
from like a ghetto,
and you told them this is the worst place in Calgary, they would laugh at you. They'd be like, "This is like a 5-star, like millionaires live here." They wouldn't believe you that it's like the barrios here, you know. But
I rent a garage near Forest Lawn, and I'm there all the time, right? I do stuff for my business, and it's just funny how this area, it's
like a bad area,
the ghetto, you know. And I see some guys walking around, and then from time to time you get a sketchy tattoo face looking on, like a sketchy guy. But it's I mean, worst case scenario, he's gonna like swear at you, right? Like
they don't really do much, right? So like even growing up here, like the quote unquote the worst place in Calgary, right? Like there wasn't many fights.
Yeah.
If there is fights, there's a few.
And it breaks up really quickly,
it breaks up quick, right? Like
I saw you were born in Greece?
Yeah, I was born in Athens, Greece, yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That blew my mind, actually. I thought you were Canadian, like you were born here.
No, we moved here when I was like 2 years old, and then I've been here my whole life, right? So I am Canadian, right?
Yeah.
But I was born in Greece.
Have you been back?
No, I've never been back. No.
I saw some pictures on your Instagram. You were training there at the. Well, no, that was the Lebanese.
Yeah, that was in Lebanon. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's similar. They're so close to each other, right?
So what were you doing there? Just traveling
Lebanon,
for fun?
my dad's like, you haven't been to your homeland before. You got to come with me. So I went there last January, and it was my first time in Lebanon, right?
How do you like it?
Oh man, it's crazy. It was like, even being like of Arab descent and being Lebanese, like going there was a culture shock. Like I speak Arabic, I'm fluent in Arabic, but it's like, and I'm used to everything, like the food, the culture, but even going there, it's like different.
Yeah.
It'd be like, for example, if you were like a Mexican Canadian, and your parents brought you up and you spoke Spanish in the house and all that stuff, but then you went to Mexico and you saw real Mexico, you'd still be shocked to be like, holy shit, like it's really like different from what they say.
Of course.
You know,
it's funny because I have a friend, she's Mexican, but most of her life she grew up here, and she told me, oh, Mexico City, like I was so scared every corner, At the beginning she was like, oh no, I'm Mexican, blah, 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 right? And then she went there,
right?
And then she got into some neighborhood that she shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm never coming back. It's like, dude, it's not the same, It's not like in the pictures of tourism, you have to know where to go, right? Have you had sketchy experience in Tijuana? Because I know Tijuana, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Very, very party oriented.
Right.
Right. I mean, Mexicans say that it has the best Chinese food.
Right.
You probably understand the joke.
Yeah. I know the inside joke for sure. Yeah.
But have you had anything sketchy happen to you when you were there? Especially fighting. I mean, you beat everybody that every time you go there.
Right.
So I'm assuming not a lot of people end up happy about it, right?
No, honestly, like the fans there are really welcoming. Like they're nice. Of course, they're gonna cheer on their hometown guy. They want him to beat you and stuff. But once you beat them and you show them that you have respect.
Yeah.
They're not gonna they're gonna respect you back, right?
Yeah, and we like Canadians,
right?
And because again, it comes from the same vibe, very very happy vibe. I don't know about Americans, right?
No, but everyone hates Americans, right? Yeah. Unfortunately.
But in my experience, everybody Mexicans like Canadians. So when you guys started your gym, how did it go? It was because I know you guys we had this project of Melaleuca, right? And that was kind of like okay, we have a client list now, or at least some people that are gonna join, right? And then I'm assuming you guys started promoting it with your friends. So how did it work?
Like starting the gym, it was honestly like I was working down the street at the place called The Gym Fitness Club. It's like right here in Marlborough.
Okay.
And it was right after high school. I got my personal training certificates, and I just wanted to start training people. So I started working
boxing
at that.
or
everything in general,
everything.
General fitness, boxing, and I started training some people there, growing my clientele. And then from there it was like I started teaching people boxing, and people started liking the idea of boxing because they never had boxing at that gym. It was known as a weightlifting gym. So when I got in there, it was like, okay, these guys, that's the coach that teaches boxing. Let's go learn from him.
And a lot of times it's more dynamic. Like it breaks out from the routine or the monotony of simply going and lifting weights.
Right.
Sometimes building this functional training type of thing.
Exactly.
It's very refreshing, especially for somebody. Again, I've been lifting weights for a while now, and boxing, it's beautiful, man. So much fun.
Like
check the gym.
It was just building my clientele there, and then I got to a point where I had enough clients that wanted to do boxing there, and George had enough friends and family friends that were interested in training with him that we said, okay, let's put some money down, let's build a garage because our house didn't have a garage yet, and we built a. Oh,
you guys build a garage from the ground?
Well, we didn't build it, but we hired contractors to build it. But we saved some money. We built it, we split it, and with my parents as well, and they helped us, they support us, and we built the garage up, and that's where the gym started. And it honestly started from my clientele at that gym.
Yeah.
and our family friends and people we went to school with, and you know their friends, and then it expanded from from our like warm market to like friends and family to them bringing their friends, and it was just honestly word of mouth. We did no advertising. Like honestly, I don't think I've ever advertised in the 8 years we've been open. But before I get sidetracked, like 2015, we opened Olympus Boxing Club out of the garage, and it was honestly just some high school friends and buddies, you know, and what gave me a lot of confidence was the first tournament we went to. Yeah. It was just me and a bunch of our family friends and high school buddies, and we went to a tournament in Edmonton. We drove 3 hours up to Edmonton for this sub-novice tournament, and that would have been in like end of 2015 or 2016, early 2016. And we drove up there, and there, you know, there's boxing clubs with teams.
They're established for longer, no?
These boxing clubs have been around 90. I mean, some of them 100 years old, right? Like these are old boxing clubs, right? So it's like, all right, how are we gonna match up with these guys? We're like a infant boxing club, like infant stages, like we're 6 months old.
Of course.
And man, we went there, and like one of our guys won a gold medal, the other guy over the weekend won a silver, and one guy walked out with a bronze medal, right? It's like, okay, we got some medals. Yeah. So clearly, like we know what we're doing a little bit, like so it gave us that confidence boost. Okay, we're going up against veterans in the game, and our guys are either beating them or coming close to beating them, so we're doing something right.
So you win your guys. Do you think it also had to do with some talent, or it was pure discipline? Like these guys came from raw material, turned them into blades.
I think it was a bit of both. Like to be honest with you, and in terms of that garage was really like grungy. Like it was like a hardcore gym, you know, like. Yeah, we built some tough guys out of there, you know. So
I bet, man.
Like,
you have no idea. Like, I'm gonna tell you this now because now I'm alright. I'm a little better, I guess. Yeah. But I wanted to go there so badly, you know, when we were doing it, but I didn't have money at the time, right? So it was very challenging for me at a time. That is like, oh man, I want to join, and then you guys transition to the other one. I'm like, damn, I want to join, but I don't know, I'm not there. I don't have money yet. You know, I was transitioned to getting my permanent residency, etc. And from there is history. Right.
I think.
So you guys were hardcore training there, and it was going well. How long did it take transitioning from the garage to that other place? Remember that I asked you to take a picture? You probably don't remember.
Yeah, that was 2017. So we stayed in the garage for 2 years. Okay. And then 2017 we opened our first commercial location, which was also like hardcore. It was like a dungeon. Yeah. And like,
dude, you made me throw up that day.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, 100%. And typically like these places are the spots that build like good fighters, right? And like good fighters come from old, dirty gyms. Okay. You know? So like from the garage to that first location, that was like a very grungy, old school, like Rocky style gym. Man, we built some of the best fighters out of there. Yeah. And that was in 2017 we moved there, and I was there all the way till 2020. Yeah. And then 2020, the pandemic hit. And I just had renewed my lease with the landlord, but the pandemic hit. Yeah, and I couldn't do anything about it, right? So when that hit, we were kind of hopeless. And my landlord's like, man, like, just keep paying rent. This whole COVID thing is going to be done in like 2 weeks. And, sad. And that was like March of 2020.
Yeah,
I remember.
I never imagined about COVID in that situation only. Okay.
We've gone through like hell and back, man. If I think about it, like so much stuff. Like 2020 was supposed to be the year of my life. I was 24 years old. I just turned 24.
And you had your first professional fight in 2020.
February 2020. Yeah. And I just signed a 3-year extension on the first gym. So I'm like, okay, we've been here since 2017. It's 2020. I'm going to be here till 2023. Yeah. In my head, that's what I'm thinking. And I had my first professional fight in February.
Yeah, which you won.
Which actually was 3 years ago today.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah. I got a memory on my Facebook. So it was 3 years ago today.
Oh yeah, February 15th.
Yeah, February 15th.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I had my pro debut.
Yeah.
I won that, and then like the local promoter was talking about, okay, you're gonna have 5 more fights this year. It's gonna be an awesome year.
God damn it.
So I'm thinking in my head, this is gonna be the best year ever. I'm gonna be like 6-0. I'm good. My gym's locked in for 3 more years. No stress. Like we're good.
Yeah.
And we can focus on training, and it's gonna be an awesome year. And literally like 3 weeks later, like right into March, it was like boom.
It's COVID. Everybody
COVID
says.
hit.
Yeah.
My landlord's like, if you don't give me money, I'm kicking you out.
Yeah.
He kicked me out of the gym. We had to move everything into storage. And then
and that was just simply passive. Like it was draining you, right? Because it was a lot of equipment from I remember. I mean, this big gym, I'm assuming it takes a bunch of space.
Yeah.
Even assembled.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. And we like moved everything into storage, and then they started, lockdown, and then restrictions, and then okay, now we're open with restrictions, and now lockdown again, and then we ended up reopening in June of 2020 in my other location.
Yeah.
If you remember, it was down the street from my first commercial location.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a funny story about that, but I know which place. Yeah.
Yeah, so we opened there, and that was a way nicer gym. So it was like, that was the silver lining, because when something bad happens in your life, there's always a silver lining that something good's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, that gym shut down. I lost my lease terms with my previous landlord, but then we got into the gym on 6th Street, right when you go into Greenview Industrial, and that was a way nicer gym, much bigger. It attracted a different vibe. Yeah, it wasn't like a grungy dungeon, like Rocky style gym.
Yeah.
So,
but then you get a different type of clientele, right?
Now we started finally like getting, younger kids in, females in.
Yeah.
It was more like less intimidating.
Yeah.
And more people were welcome. It was like more welcoming to the public.
Because to be honest, and I say this from my experience,
right?
Boxing gyms are intimidating. You see people punching back. You see somebody stares at you. I'm like,
I don't want to mess with that guy.
Right, exactly, because everybody is a fighter, essentially, right? But then you come to this one, right? And the other one I never got a chance to. Again, I tell the story, but you come, everybody smiles, say, hey, how are you doing, right?
Exactly.
Hey, you're new, right? Everybody's so welcoming, right? And even though everybody knows how to destroy you in 10 seconds, right? Everybody's so nice, and which I really like about that.
Yeah, and I think that sets us apart from other boxing clubs.
Yeah.
Because you won't find another boxing club like that. Like maybe, I don't know, in the whole world, I don't think. We're a very welcoming boxing club. Everyone, like, it's respect first over everything, right?
Nice.
And I think that's how it should be, not just in the gym, but in the outside world as well.
Of course.
But yeah, we opened that gym in 2020, and I was there up until like 2 weeks ago. So again, like almost 3 years.
Yeah.
I was there, and man, that was crazy, because like the first year we were open there, it was like, okay, restrictions, okay, boom, lockdown. Now we're locked down, and then you got members that are calling and saying, cancel my membership, and it's like, okay, you gotta cater to everyone, and then it's like, well, then you gotta still pay your landlord rent, and then it's like, boom, we're open again, and then okay, restrictions, and then you got the premier saying, okay, we're locking down again. It was like super, honestly.
It was like 3 lockdowns, eh?
Yeah, I think it was more than that. It was like 5, but the fitness industry, they were saying, got hit the hardest in the whole world. Like out of every industry, the fitness industry got beat up the worst by COVID, because like the governments of the world, that was the first businesses they hit were fitness, which it made no sense, because
because you want people healthy, of course.
Yeah, you want to be healthy, you like to build your immune system, but it made no sense. They were shutting down gyms first.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you go conspiracy theories, there's a lot about them, especially
100%.
Why they're shutting down gyms, right? It's like, dude.
And it's like, like, that's a whole nother topic. We could talk about that for hours, right? But
have you ever had an anxiety attack before fighting? Or in general, actually?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I've been,
you seem somebody very sane, right? But for example, in my experience, at least, 2021, between 2020 and 2021, that's where I experienced that I had depression, anxiety,
right?
And it was bad, like
before a fight, no, like maybe not before a fight, but like in general, life, 100%. I mean, like, COVID hit, and then we're on lockdowns, and And then even when lockdowns were off, it was like strict restrictions. And it's like in your head, you're just thinking, okay, well, like when am I going to get back to professional boxing?
Yeah.
I turned pro at 24 years old. I won my pro debut. And my next fight, my second pro fight was at 26. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw it. It happened 1 year and 6 months later.
And it's crazy because it's like in your head, like, okay, it's one thing to like close your gym down and reopen. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. But you can always open a gym and run a gym.
Yeah.
But as an athlete in any sport, time is ticking, right? So it's like the more older you get, the less time you have on your hourglass to use, right? Because if you know, I was 24 and like thank God it was 2 years was a lot, but thank God it was only 2 years because you know I got right back into it.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had, you know, it took a year and a half off because of COVID. I had to get back and start getting the ball rolling again. But like back to what I was saying is like, if I'm 40 years old, I can run a successful gym.
Of course.
But if I'm 40 years old, I can't go fight for a world title.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe I can, but I'm not going to do very well against a mature 25-year-old, you know,
right in their prime,
right? So in my head, I'm like, okay, my prime years are here, time is ticking, and I literally can't do anything about it. I have no power over it. Like, no matter what I try to do, like, I can't do anything. And then that's when I looked at Mexico, and I was like,
so Mexico kept doing things. I mean, I didn't research that, but Mexico kept doing.
Yeah, with restrictions, like they kept pro fights going. So it was like, and even in the States, in some places, they kept pro fights going. So it was like, these American and Mexican fighters were still getting ahead of the game while everybody was sitting on their couch. You know?
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can do. Like, you're only motivated so much. Like imagine, you know, you told.
It took away your routine, your everything, right? Because you were. Well, I still think you're at your peak, and well, not at your peak, but you're in a really good age.
Oh yeah, I'm in my prime still, 100%. But
you were entering in this world.
Right.
I imagine all your excitement about it.
Right.
And then they cut you off like that, dude. It's. Yeah, I imagine how hard it must have been. I mean,
it was nuts. So, like with that being said, it was you get depressed, right? And I'm sure a lot of other athletes, not just fighters, felt that way.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, why am I going to go to the gym and train for 4 hours a day like I normally do when there's nothing to look forward to? There's no football game for me to play. There's no boxing match for me to fight in. So like, as an athlete, it just like takes all your momentum away from you.
Of course.
And you get depressed, right? So it's like, for me, it was like, and I'm sure a lot of other fighters, like you just get bored. You're sitting at home. You watched everything on Netflix.
Yeah, you need projects. You know, you need
like you go train and you'll train like 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, but it's like you don't have the drive to. Okay, I'm gonna train 4 hours a day. I'm gonna eat healthy.
Yeah.
Because there's no goal set. Like it's not like I'm fighting in 2 months. I got to do this.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
How complicated would it be for example, you that you're established already, you know probably a lot of the people in the industry, you have professional fighters here, to start organizing your own fights and actually give credit for them, right?
Yeah.
So for example, right now you're going to Tijuana constantly, and every fight it accumulates, right?
Right.
Can you do that here? Like is it doable?
Yeah.
And what do you need for it?
Like that's another goal of me and George's is to start our own promotion company. I've done like 11 amateur boxing events.
Yeah, no, I've seen your events,
right?
man. They seem really
amazing,
fun,
right? And they always sell out, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, bring these local fighters and the local crowd. Everyone wants to see a good fight. But
it's very fun, man. Watching boxing is super fun.
Yeah, and on the other side, professional boxing is a whole different world because now you're in the professional world. So it's like now the government gets involved. Like you gotta get sanctions from the city of Calgary. You have to get business permits, licensing, all these things. So it's not like, you know, an amateur event. I just have to call Boxing Alberta, and they come with the referees and judges.
Okay.
And you pay a sanction fee, and they help you host the event. It's easy. It takes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? And to set that all up. But it's like professional boxing, you open this can of worms, and you have to get permission from 50 people. You have to pay like ridiculous amounts of money. Like they charge like up to $100,000 to run a professional boxing event. So it's like,
holy shit,
we're working on it. Really, we are. But it's like we got to make sure everything's in place.
Yeah.
And all the eggs are in one basket so that we have a successful first professional show, post-COVID, post-pandemic. But it's going to take a lot of preparation, but we're hoping to do it.
And you need a powerful sponsor. Like, for example, in Mexico, they have Tecate, Corona, right, Modelo.
Right.
I mean, I don't see Bud Lights or the local breweries that have a bunch of money. Come on, man! Where are you guys? Where you guys at?
They're sponsoring hockey, right? And that's another thing. It's like we're in a country where all people care about is hockey.
Yeah.
So they'll dish out millions and billions of dollars to hockey, no problem. But it's like boxing is such a small sport in Canada, where it's like it looks.
But it has a lot of potential, though.
It has a lot of potential, 100%. But it gets looked like. Looked past, right? Like people look past it.
They put American football first, rugby, right?
A million other sports, right? So, if it had the popularity of hockey, you'd see boxing events every weekend, in Calgary. But it's not like that, right? And that's what we're trying to get to, But it's an uphill battle, right?
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to talk a little bit more about when you started transitioning to multiple gyms, but because we already been a little over 45 minutes and I know you're really exhausted and you still have to work, maybe we can leave it for another time, for sure,
or whatever you want. Let's do it. Yeah,
perfect, man. So I don't because I know you have to run again.
No, I can run tonight, it's fine.
Well, here we'll go for another 10 minutes and we'll stop.
Sure.
So when you first what was the approach from this investor to, hey, let's open another location, and how do you jump from there? Because doing that transition from one location to two locations, fuck, man, sounds scary as hell, right? Are they gonna be filling that spot? Right. Is it even gonna run properly?
Right, exactly.
Right. So how do you go from one to two?
It was a lot of trial and error and taking a big leap of faith, but knowing that I have the skills and the name and the background to make something successful, not just in Calgary but in another city or another town. It came with confidence, right? But a lot of trial and error, realizing, okay, this works at this gym, but that doesn't work at the other gym, right? Because you got to know audiences, right? For example, here in Calgary, our target audience is teenagers all the way to adults. Yeah. I would say 75% come here for stress relief, weight loss, recreational benefits. Yeah. They just want to learn how to box or self-defense. Then you go to another town. And it's okay, it's a small town, small town Alberta.
Full of families.
It's gonna be young kids, under 10 years old, or parents that are young moms, young dads, that are just looking to get a workout. And then you're looking about, I'd say 5% of people that want to fight. 95% are just doing it for fitness. Yeah. Honestly, 95% don't even care to learn about boxing. They just want to hit a bag like crazy and get sweating. Where in Calgary, it's 75% of the people actually want to learn how to box for self-defense. And about 25% of those end up wanting to fight and competing, whether that's amateur or turning pro eventually. Yeah. So I would say here, it's about 75% recreational, 25% competitive. Yeah. In small towns that we've expanded to, it's 95% recreational, 5% competitive. It's very minimal, right?
And you cannot put one of your best trainers in this area because you need them to train the competitive trainers,
so
right?
So it's trial and error, right?
And how do you choose your team? I mean, I see you have a very solid team, and these guys, in their own way, they're always promoting. They're doing their TikToks, they're doing their stories, their Instagrams, their real Instagrams. Yeah. Sound like an old man. How do you find those guys? Do they came from the first garage team?
Some of them are, yeah. Some of them are, and honestly, a lot of people are still I would say 90% of everyone that started from the garage, even to the old gym, the first gym in 2017, are still here in 2023. So we have a very loyal family here. Everyone's very loyal to each other. Yeah. But the team, it kind of developed over the years, and then you like I believe it's just like everything comes together for a reason. But we got a certain group of people that are all like-minded. You know, we're all very respectful.
Yeah.
No one's cocky here. Everyone's good trainers. Everyone has really good knowledge, and it just formed a good team of people that are exactly the same.
Yeah.
But bring different things to the table. So all our mindsets are the same. You know, none of these guys are going to be cocky, you know.
I always had that idea of a gym, and I guess it's from my own personal experience that there's always going to be that guy trying to be the alpha, right? And be like, oh yeah, I'm better than this guy, oh I'm better than this, right? And in this case, or at least in this gym, I see that doesn't happen very often. Or
no.
I haven't seen. I mean, I've been here for a little bit, but even there's other guy. I forgot the guy with all the tattoos in the back.
Steve.
Steve. Yeah. That guy. I mean, the guy looks like the happiest guy on earth, and also the guy is a professional, and you know, and you, unless you talk to him and know his story or look him up, right? You wouldn't know he's a pro, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the guy is chilling, you know.
Yeah, and I think we're all like that. Like, I mean, I have people that come in the gym. Oh, you train here? Yeah, I train here.
Yeah.
Oh, like, you're here late? Oh, yeah, I'm the janitor here. I just joke around, right? Like, you know, I don't walk around like I'm the owner. I own this place. This is my gym. Even like when you guys want to spar, like in the ring, it's like, all right, go ahead. Like even today, we did sparring, and it was like all the newer guys wanted to spar first. It's like I'm not gonna be like, get out. It's my ring. It's my time to spar. No, go ahead. I'm gonna warm up.
Yeah.
I'm you know, even though it's my gym, and me and my brother, we pay the bills and all that stuff. At the end of the day, like, I want people to feel like it's their gym as much as it's mine, right?
Nice.
So, I mean, I treat everyone with like the same amount of respect.
Yeah.
A new guy, I'm gonna show him how to move and throw punches and teach him the same way as I would with champion, right? Like, I'm gonna give the same respect level to Steve.
Yeah.
You know, who's one of the top fighters in the world. I'll give the same respect as a guy that, you know, comes in just for recreational boxing.
Yeah.
That works a 9-to-5 job. Like, we're equal respect levels.
Nice. I wanted to get more deep into this whole when you went to Jalisco and then you trained with Canelo's brother, but to be honest, again, like it's quite late, and I guess we can do another time, another round,
whatever you want,
another day. But thank you so much, Angelo. What can you say to somebody that wants to try boxing? I mean, I post this in the Latin communities, and some people see it. What can you say to somebody that wants to try it but feel intimidated about trying boxing?
Si se puede. You can do it. You can do it.
You can do it. Thank you so much, Raza, for watching it, for watching this episode. Thank you, Angelo. Really appreciate it, man.
Gracias.
We'll try another time, and I have a lot more questions, but
for sure, bro.
Definitely another time. Thank you so much, guys, and have a nice day.
See
Bye.
you.
Chingón, güey. Chingón. Muchas gracias,
man.
hermano.
No, anytime.
Chingón.
That was fun, man.
Thank you.